Hi, I'm Darren and welcome to New Factory Classics. Today we're going to start my first in the series of the DCEU Man of Steel. Please make sure to subscribe so you can see all of my movie breakdowns of the movies in the DCEU. Kal-El was born on Krypton, and Krypton's actually about to implode because they've been overmining their core. But General Zod is actually planning on overthrowing the government days before the implosion, because he wants to be the ruler of a dying planet, like when you get named CEO of Sears. Now, when he realizes all is lost, Kal-El's dad, Jor-El, sends his son to Earth because the Kryptonians are not all that much different from humans, so he can live amongst the humans. Secretly, inside his baby, he plants all the data on how to make future Kryptonian babies and all of their history. So basically, he put the internet in his son, but with slightly less cats. Now, living on Earth will affect Kal-El in a unique way. Absorbing the sun's rays will make him faster, stronger, the ability to fly, run, jump, way better than any human on Earth. It'll make him some sort of Superman, and there's no easier way of saying that. It's offhandedly mentioned that Kal-El is the first natural birth in centuries, which could explain why everyone else has so much pent-up anger. Now, General Zod's coup is actually stopped before the implosion of the planet. They end up locking him and putting him into space jail for 300 years. And I imagine we will not see him again in this film. We fast forward 30 years and Kal-El is working on a fisherman ship out in the middle of the ocean, and he is incredibly ripped, because that's how I always imagine fishermen, is just ripped to the T, looking like they spend 48 hours a week working out at the gym. Unfortunately, while he's on the ship, there is a nearby oil rig that catches fire, and he can't keep his secret hidden. He ends up jumping off the ship and saving the men. After saving the men on the burning oil rig, it explodes, and he ends up having a flashback to when he was a child. We find out that as a baby, he crash landed in Kansas and was adopted by two American parents who named him Clark Kent. And as a child, he is constantly bullied for being different, or maybe it's because he's from Kansas, but that really doesn't make any sense because they're from Kansas too. He has the hard time of not fighting back, because if he were to fight back, he would kill every single bully that he touched. So he has to navigate the normal adolescent issues of growing up and also being bullied but not being able to fight back, or he would end up decimating his opponents. One day in high school, his bus goes off the bridge and everyone's about to drown until he jumps out of the bus and pushes the bus out of the river, and a few of his bullies actually see it and they finally stop bullying him, which is what I wish I had done as a kid. Just, save people using my superhuman powers, which I have, I just chose not to, but I realize if I had, I would have not been bullied as much. While working odd jobs in Canada, and of course being bullied, the first half of this movie is Clark being bullied by everyone. Even though he's a large man who's ripped, they still bully him for some reason because he's quiet. I don't know. I don't normally see people that are giant getting bullied, but in this universe, it doesn't matter if you're huge. You're going to get bullied unless you're exactly like everyone else. Clark travels to northern Canada and meets a young reporter called Lois Lane. They are both meeting up with the American military to see what is going on at this anomaly that's pushing off all this radiation under 20,000 years of ice. One night, Lois sneaks out and she sees Clark walking through the snow. She follows him as he uses his lasers to burrow through the ice and make it to a hidden spaceship under the ice. She gasps and ends up waking up a robot which attacks her and almost kills her with internal bleeding. Clark ends up having to reveal that he's actually a superhuman, and he uses his laser sight to stop the bleeding. And she immediately passes out because she's screaming in pain because he's holding her down and using his lasers to burn in her stomach. When she wakes up, she's on a floating ice pad in the middle of the snow, and Clark pieces out with his new spaceship, not to be seen again. Clark puts a key that was around his neck into the spaceship and awakens an AI version of his father. Something that we've never considered. We always consider AI taking over the planet. We never consider it forcing you to learn intergalactic history. The robot AI version of Clark's dad eventually tells him that the reason why he sent him to Earth was because we were so similar. But the humans were just a few centuries behind, and if he could guide them, he could guide them to a better future than even the Kryptonians had, because they were the source of their own demise. He sent Clark to be Earth's guiding light, to be their hero. Unsatisfied with having had her life saved after breaking into his spaceship, Lois Lane sets out to dig up all the information she can about this mystery person that had been traveling all over Canada. One thing that she finds out is that Clark's human father died in a tornado, which is honestly the most metal Kansas way to go out. Surprise! General Zod is still alive, and he takes over every machine on Earth to let them know that they need to give up the alien that's living on their planet, which turns out to be Clark, and turn him over to Zod and all of the other people that were involved in his coup. They survived the jail, and now they're coming to try and basically set up Krypton on Earth. And I'd like to apologize. Earlier when I said there was no way Zod would come back, I really kind of set us up for this one. I probably should have finished watching the movie before I said that there was no way that Zod was going to come back. Clark turns himself over to the humans. He's not sure what Zod wants, as he never actually met any Kryptonians because he left when he was 2 days old. But he doesn't want the humans on Earth to die because of him. So he turns himself over to the humans and then eventually turns himself over to Zod. And he and Lois Lane get beamed up into Zod's spaceship. Unfortunately for him, they have their atmosphere set to Kryptonian atmosphere, so he loses all the strength from the local sun and ends up passing out from the changes that he is experiencing. General Zod reveals that he wants to build Krypton too, and he's chosen Earth to make that place happen, which is great for all the Kryptonians because they're going to have a new planet to live on, and really bad for all the humans because they live on Earth and they're all going to die. Clark decides that he doesn't want this to happen because he is actively trying to date Lois Lane, and I guess he also doesn't want all the humans to die. Lois finds a way to change the atmosphere to Earth mode, and he wakes up. And Clark is strong again, and he's ready to fight. But she ends up piecing out herself and leaving him on his proverbial ice floe out in space, and she escapes in her escape pod. Clark must now fight Zod's army all over Earth. Now, these people are trained in war, but his only advantage is that he has been accustomed to Earth's atmosphere for years, whereas they're just learning it, so it's really confusing for them. But that won't stop all of them from destroying everything in their path while they're trying to fight. Throughout the next hour of this movie, trillions of dollars in damage are done, millions of people are killed. He does look fantastic the whole fight, and he is finally called Superman, which is great because he's going to have to fight a giant robot that's terraforming the planet. So he flies all the way over to the North Indian Sea, and the humans have to go fight another robot near Metropolis. They take his baby carriage and convert it into a bomb and end up destroying Zod's ship. Zod is the only one that survived both of the machines blowing up, and he is angry. So he and Superman have one heck of a fight to end all fights. And they make sure to go through Metropolis and destroy everything that hadn't been destroyed in the previous 45 minutes. They are flying through buildings, destroying cars, blowing things up, blowing up satellites. Things are crashing down. Millions of people die during this. And eventually, Clark, or Superman if you will, pins Zod and he says, "You need to give up." And Zod tries to start killing more people. Superman is forced to break his neck, breaking his one rule of never killing, but he has to in order to save the humans. Now, I promise you, this has to be the last time that we see Zod in the DCEU. I don't know any way that they'd be able to bring him back. Well, now the humans are learning what it's like to have an alien live on their planet. Truly a man of steel. Thank you all for watching. Now I have seen it, so you don't have to. Please like, subscribe, and share, and have a great day.